Yes, I went back to school in my late 20s and I'm here to report back. I really thought I had it figured out with music production with YouTube University. I was like, I don't need anything else. But here's the truth. Sometimes you should go back to school. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing why I made that leap. Was it worth it for my career? My experience going back to school in my late 20s? And how to make the right decision for you. But okay, let's just rewind a little bit. How did I get here? When I graduated high school, I went to university to study interdisciplinary medical sciences because I wanted to be a doctor. I quickly learned by kind of second, third year that maybe that is not the profession for me. And at the time, there were a lot of startups booming, and I was kind of drawn to this tech startup world. So when I graduated, I joined a biotech startup, and I joined right at the perfect time and quickly climbed up the little sales ranks, and I became a senior account executive. While I was doing this sales job, I picked up DJing as a hobby because I loved listening to EDM, and honestly, I just had no hobbies and I needed one, otherwise I was boring. Over time, the job was really draining. I kind of stopped believing in that product and the team, so I quit. And while I was on this sales break, I turned to streaming on Twitch and actually DJed 6 weddings, and I realized I want to pursue music and I don't want to go back to sales. I wasn't really progressing fast enough for my liking, and I was looking around and seeing who was getting to the places that I wanted to be, and a lot of them attended either a music school, like a music college, or a music production program. So I just DM them about their experience, and that's how I decided to go to Icon. And there's actually an online program and then the LA program in person, which is the one I went to. And that was a whole huge decision in itself, not only because I'm from Canada, but I have to move my whole life and my husband's life down into LA. But I really thought about it, and I was like, okay, girl, we're in our 20s, so when else are you gonna do? Now is the time before, you settle down, da 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 da. And I was like, we have to try to chase the dream. Listen, the reasons that I really wanted to go to an in-person school was 1, the community, 2, just being focused and having structure, 3, it was a 1-year commitment. When I started learning on YouTube, as many people do in their bedrooms, it is kind of isolating. I tried joining a bunch of Discord servers, which just was not really working for me. And being in person means you are going to be around a lot of other producers, and it's part of the program to collaborate. So even if I didn't want to, I would be, I guess, forced in a way to collaborate anyways. Now, I didn't find my besties there, but I did work with a lot of producers. There's a whole class called collaboration where you collaborate with a different person every week, and then your final project is a collaborative EP. And in the small city I was in Canada, I just was not meeting electronic music producers, and I just wasn't having any luck on the servers. It was really cool to meet a bunch of people where we had kind of very similar dreams. You can see in my other video that sometimes it felt a little competitive, but overall I think it was really good to be in an environment where there are a lot of other producers, creatives, songwriters around me. This is a big one, structure. For me, I have always been a really good student. I would say school worked for me. That format specifically kind of works. I'm not saying it's easy for me. I'm not one of those people that I don't study and I just get a 90. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm just saying the structure of lesson, assignment, another lesson, that kind of works for me in learning stuff, and it really motivates me. I have discipline, but not enough self-discipline to learn the amount of information that I learned at school by myself on YouTube. Another thing is, I don't have to make my own curriculum. So when you are self-taught, you have to look everything up, and you have to determine if you want to listen to this person or not. I mean, obviously, you don't have to listen to everybody at school either, but at least I know these are people that are working in the industry, and if there were really crazy, like I'm pretty sure somebody else would have picked up on it as well. On top of that, it's a 1-year program, but it was a stacked 1-year program. It was courses, 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 and then you had also one-on-one mentorship, which is something that I really wanted on top of that to kind of develop who I was as an artist, because I was like a baby artist. I still feel that way. Like I'm a baby, but I'm like maybe more of like a toddler now. I'm not a baby. I felt a baby going into Icon, and I'm come out a toddler, and I'm like working my way to the adolescence of my artistic career. But having just 1 year of everything kind of compressed was really nice, because I don't want to do a 4-year program. I already did a 4-year program, and I'm in my late 20s. Like, no, I don't want to do that. So having just like 1 year where everything was packed was stressful, but I feel like very time efficient. And I don't know how long it would have taken me to learn it on my own, but I can tell you, I wouldn't have done it in a year. I can tell you that confidently. What was it like to be literally 10 years older than some of my classmates? It was interesting, because obviously I was in a very different stage of life. Like, I had a great husband, I've had a career, I've already went to school one time already. Like, this is my second rodeo. So there were some interesting challenges that I didn't expect, and interesting benefits as well. The first one is kind of obvious, but it can be harder to connect with people that are, so much younger, just because they are experiencing different things than I'm experiencing. Like, obviously, like, we can still chat and be friendly, but like, really connecting and being friends was hard. I did have like older classmates as well, kind of like more in a similar age range as me, and I think those are the people I really connected with, and I'm like so happy they were in my class. But a lot of people at that school were younger, so it's hard. But it is interesting to go back to school, with such younger people, because you see them like experiencing a lot of things, because it makes you reflect about your own experiences about that as well. And you forget how much younger they are sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the first time you've ever probably lived by yourself. It's like the first time you've like not had your parents tell you to do homework or something. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. A great thing about being older is you've been around the block. So I was still very stressed, don't get me wrong, but I didn't have like the crazy all-nighters and like stressing missing class, because I already know it's usually not that deep. Like, miss an assignment, you'll be okay, but I am still responsible. So I feel like I was better at time management, stress management, just because I'm a bit older. I know that it's gonna be okay. Here's something I didn't expect. Being older means you can relate to your instructors more. They're not like a scary authority figure to me. I mean, a couple of them were, but majority of them are around my age and or a couple years older. You can relate to them a lot more because I'm just closer in age to them. So that was kind of nice. And I'm more willing to ask questions, and I'm not like, oh, like I'm scared. Like, no, I'm gonna ask questions because I have questions. And that's really cool about being older and just being more confident within yourself. I did feel a little lonely. Of course, I was a little lonely semester 1, which I talked about in my other video, but I meant like lonely in my personal life, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. So when you are going back to school in your late 20s, most of the people around you in your life are not in school. I think I knew one person in online school, and it was like a little bit different, but a lot of them are still working normal jobs, and they get to enjoy weekends. They get to enjoy summer, and they don't experience the same like really intense periods before finals or like finals week. So you are just like the only one really stressing. People are supporting you, and I had a really amazing support system, but I was jealous. I was like, oh my God, like, why do they get to enjoy summer? Like, they get weekends, like, they don't understand like the stress I'm going through. Because when I went to university, you have like, your whole friend group is kind of going through it. Everybody you know in your life is going through like similar experiences. But this time going back to school, I was like, it's just me. It's just me stressing about it. And the last thing was going back to school, do not underestimate it, because I did. I was like, whatever, I did a 4-year degree, I can do this, I'll crush it. I mean, I did crush it, but it was actually quite hard. It's very different than my original degree in producing that much creative output was an interesting experience, to say the least. I'm happy and proud of the work I did. And it was very different because I remember studying for exams and then doing a Scantron, and it's over. It's over. But in this specific school, there's a lot of feedback, which is amazing, and you have to share your work a lot. And I was just not used to that. I was just like a little shy new baby producer, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And that really was very hard for me. It was 100% worth it for me because I didn't grow up playing music, and it felt like a crash course on what I missed out in terms of like growing up playing an instrument. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I played the clarinet in band, but that doesn't really count for like a couple of years. I didn't do the, lessons every week kind of thing. So it felt like I had to learn a lot of music theory, like ear training, and like a bunch of those instincts and like fundamentals in this year. And that's what they did. They like really put it in there. And I wouldn't have taken the time to learn all the things I did in terms of like music theory, ear training, like rhythms, mixing. Like I would have like probably looked into it, but not like really like zoned in. Going to school and just like having that information, even though I'm not excellent at any of these things, knowing that I can do it and knowing that I have the ability to do it in some form and I can get better because it's a skill, brings me a peace of mind. In terms of production, I think it was really cool being around my instructors that were in the industry, watching them songwrite in real time, watching them produce in real time, watching them set up a studio session in real time. It's very different than a YouTube video. Like there aren't cuts, there aren't anything. It's just like you're watching their train of thought in real time, and that was really insightful. And they also share a lot of the industry standard with us, and that's just good to have up here because, if you want to be a professional, you should know what professionals are using. And another thing I really liked was I now can figure out like what is good advice and what is bad advice because I have this like foundational knowledge, which is good, and I know where to look because I know where these people are getting their information. It's just like much easier to differentiate what is noise, what is not. Another thing is I really loved going into the studio for studio techniques, and it's the recording studio where you see all the faders and like there's a bunch of cables everywhere and all the patchwork. That was really cool because I truly thought I was gonna be a bedroom producer and like make beats on my computer, not beats, but like make songs on my computer forever and like never go into a real studio. I don't know why I thought that, but having the opportunity to do so is really cool because I know I can rent out a studio and record somebody. Can I do it at an excellent level? Maybe not, but I know I can do it if I had to, and I'm not like completely lost when I walk into that room. This is who it's not worth it for. If you like grew up like playing an instrument for like many years at like a like semi-high level and like you still play to this day, don't go. Because a lot of the program, especially the first half of the program, is really focused on like musical fundamentals. And if you already have those and you already have rhythm, you already have a great ear, you know music theory, like it is not for you. Of course you can test out of them, specifically in my program, but I don't know if just the production side plus the mentorship is like enough and worth it, in my opinion. I think in that scenario, your taste and your ears will guide you. And I don't think you need a lot of mentorship in that way. Now, if you have money to spare, go ahead. And you have like, you're young, you have money, and you have the means, like go meet people, learn as much as you can. Are you gonna learn and get the value of tuition? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. That's just my take. Basically, I want to summarize the factors you need to think about if you're going back to school. The first thing is, do you have the time, the money, the means, and the support to go back to school? Because if that's a no, don't even think about the rest of these factors. The next thing is, where are you with your skill set? Are you a beginner? Are you intermediate? Are you advanced? And is the program going to get you to the place you're going to be? And what you're going to do is you're going to look at the people that you want to be like or have the careers that you want and see how they got there. Did they use school? Message them like I did on Instagram. A lot of people are really open to talking about their experiences. So figure out what they did and if it is a path that you want to take for yourself. The third thing is networking. For me, networking wasn't really a big part of like my experience. I would say it's cool to know a lot of producers. Is it helping my career right now? Not so much so far. Yeah, the last thing is, what are your long-term goals? Like, are you willing to invest 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or a year of your life to get to this place? Like, you really have to think about it. You can't be like, I'm an artist, or like something kind of vague. Like, you need to think about, what do you actually want? And all these questions together will help you decide if going back to school, especially in your later 20s or even 30s, is for you. If you found this video helpful and want to dive deeper into my journey at school, I have this video and I have one about quitting my sales job before I went to music. Bye!